Hey, ladies, I just only discovered yesterday that is something called a shut up ring. Where have I been? Obviously, I have not been in the dating market, obviously, because then I would have known about this. But has it ever happened to you where you get this engagement ring and then you start to ask yourself, was this even for real? Because why is it like 2 years later and you don't have a date yet? Huh? Ladies. And I had to start to think about it like this because I listened to Orion Teraban, right? And he is one of the guys I think online that is really had has sort of like a grip on dating and so forth, right? And of course, I listened to Jordan Peterson. Yes, those are I think the two guys I think that I listened to. And if if I was to give you an analogy about dating, it's sort of like a job interview, and I totally see how it would be ridiculous, really, for you to go for a job interview, for example, and then your employer has your first interview, your second interview, and your third interview, and then says you're hired. You're hired, but we don't really have a particular date you can start. Like we don't really know like when you can start, right? And you're thinking, well, I've been looking for a job for like forever. I mean, I've been unemployed for 5 years. What's another like 5 years without a job? If you want a job and you're looking for it and that's what you want, you should expect that if you go on an interview that that's what you're going to get, a job and a definite start date. In fact, when during the interview, one of the things that they ask you is, when is your desired start date? So I see it like the same thing. So if a guy is giving you a ring and both of you don't know when you're going to be married, what is that ring for then? Why is he proposing in the first place if there's not a definitive date? That's how you gotta look at it, like a job that you are applying for, okay? That both the employer and the employee know exactly when you're going to start working. It's not an eternal interview. It's not an eternal engagement. Right? Unless the only other um really caveat to this, if you're being hired from a temp agency where both the temporary worker and the employee and the employer know that this is a temporary thing that you're doing, like there's some sort of agreement that this is temporary, because then you can't really, if you came from a temp agency and you get hired right away, most of the time they get hired right away, if you know what I mean. They get hired right away. The temp agency, the temp can't be like, oh, I know I've been working here for like 3 months, I'd like a permanent job. Well, you came from a temp agency. It's a temporary assignment. You knew when you were going into it that it was going to be temporary, so you can't change your mind. It's the same thing. Like when a guy is dating a girl, he knows from the beginning that this is going to be temporary. So it's up to you as the employee to decide whether you are going to be seeking permanent employment or temporary. You've got to know it yourself. You can't be like, I don't know if I'm temporary or if I am permanent. You got to know, it's you. You hold the power yourself. You also hold the power to know when it is that you want employment. Because it is you, my friend, ladies, who has a biological clock. So if you're saying, by 25 years old, I want to be married, then you have the power to be married by 25. You hold the power because you want to be married by 25. So if you come to a somebody and you say, you know what, I want to be married by this year because I feel like I'm in my prime, you are going to weed out the people who don't want to be married that year. And then you can keep moving on. Right? That's one analogy I can give you. Okay? I am out of the dating market myself. I'm 45 years old, already have kids, I've been married, so I have sort of like removed myself from this dating market until things change, until the girls start to really change, because we really have so much power to change and shift everything, right? So I give you another analogy. If that employer-employee just seems a little bit too like cringy for you, I'll give you an example. Say, for example, you are a store, like Macy's, for example, and you have items for sale in your store, like beautiful gowns, beautiful gowns, right? And you have somebody who comes and they want to buy, but they can't afford your beautiful gown, but you have something they call layaway, right? Yeah, some stores have layaway, other stores don't, because the people who go there can afford it. I don't imagine like Prada or these stores have like layaway, right? Because the people who go there can afford it. So layaway is like maybe another store and they decide, okay, well, it looks like you can't afford it right now, so you can put this gown on layaway. You have to have a particular timeline for how long you're going to put that dress on layaway. It can't be on layaway for like 5 years. The store owner, you have the upper hand. You can decide if it's going to be 90 days, if it's going to be 1 year. But if you don't have a definitive time, that person who is putting that item on layaway can decide that 2 years later is when they're going to come and buy your item. But you know why you shouldn't have it for that long? Is because that item loses its value over time. It's like nobody is going to come and buy last year's like spring collection. Right? So if it's 2025 spring collection and it's a very rare thing and you're in your prime because it's like spring, it is spring, and your item is at the most valuable it is, you don't want to put it on layaway for like another year and a half. That person who is coming should be able to afford it. They should be like, hey, wow, I see this gown. Beautiful. I have the money. I can afford it. So you either decide you do not want a layaway department, get rid of that, and only deal with people who have the money to afford your item. Okay? That's how I see it. It's, for me, I was so cringy when someone told me yesterday about this what do you call this thing, like it's called a shut up ring. Like literally it's a thing. A shut up ring is a thing. And this year 2025 is the year I'm hoping that wonderful ladies, I'm rooting for those women who they know they are just, they have so much value to bring. They know how to really maintain a home. They have passion, they have drive, they are beautiful, amazing, wonderful women. Those are the people that I am talking about. I'm not talking about the people from the temp agencies. You understand me? Those people there's a reason why they're there, and they maybe find it sort of I don't think they're even happy. I don't know. But I'm talking to people who want permanent, fulfilling, healthy. These are family oriented people. I'm hoping that in 2025, those family oriented people can come together, have families, so that there will be more happy families, right? Those two people should meet. And everybody else who is for the streets can stay in the streets. So anyway, I wanted to just put out this message because where have I been? How did I not know about this shut up ring? And I'm starting to think that maybe the ring that I got a couple years ago was shut up a ring, because it kind of kept me from not asking about getting married for a while. And I was like, this is just, why am I wearing this ring? I'm telling everybody, hey, I'm engaged. Time to realize that that they weren't really serious. But now I do recall, now that that somebody actually told me that it's a thing, I started just asking around, like, have you heard of this thing? It's like a real thing. It is a thing. I hope this video has been helpful to you. So I always like to end with this phrase: you belong, you are loved, you are valuable, you are enough, you are worthy of forgiveness, you are a child of God, you have a purpose, and God has a plan for you. And I'm telling you, if you're 25, I could be your mom. I could be your mom. I could tell you that. Because I really am, rooting for you. I'm rooting for all the ladies who just want to change things around for themselves and for the future. God bless you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful, amazing day.